back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lizzy, for those of you who don't know, and today I'm going to be doing a very painful video. I am going to be reacting to 1-star reviews of my 5-star reads. Now, I did do a part 1 of this last year, but as time has come, I have acquired some new 5-star reads. I actually only have one actual 5-star read in this video, and then like 4 4.75s, because if I'm gonna be honest, I literally have not had my best luck with books lately. So yeah, even though they're 4.75s, like I still love them with all my heart, and that my heart will still break when people exclaim their hatred for it. So nonetheless, it will still be painful, so don't even worry about that. My heart will still be breaking. Okay, so the first book that I will be reacting to is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is my most recent 5-star read. I just loved everything about this book, to be honest. It was just the most perfect romantasy. I just loved it with all of my heart. But some people did not. In fact, this book is very polarizing to some people. Like, I have heard reviews of people saying it's the most boringest book they've ever read, which, listen, books are subjective. Like, I am very self-aware of that. Some people are not gonna like the books that I like, and that's totally fine. I don't like some books that people love. That's just how books are. Okay, the lighting is kind of getting worse and worse. Let me just pull up Goodreads, which, if you guys are not following my Goodreads, I am constantly updating it with my current reads. Like, I'm reviewing books, so if you're ever interested in what I'm currently reading and that kind of stuff, then I will link it in my description box if you guys want to follow me. I'm scared. Okay, the rating brackets, we have like a ton of 5 stars, good amount of 4 stars. We have some, we have a few 1 stars. Here we have our first one. I've read fan fictions written by 12-year-olds on Wattpad with better plots than this. No, is what I'll first say. I'm gonna defend this book really quick. Okay, so this book is like inspired by the Hunger Games. It's classic romantasy, you know, all that stuff. Just because it's inspired, okay, does not mean that it was a bad plot. Personally, in this book, the plot literally was so good. I was always entertained. The banter with these two, top notch. Too much. It was so good. I literally, plot what? I don't even care about the plot, bro. The characters in this book, crazy. I like the plot, so whatever. If I wanted to read The Hunger Games, I would have just picked that up. So that's so funny you say that, because it's not The Hunger Games, actually. It's just inspired by The Hunger Games. You know what I mean? That's kind of like piggybacking off of what I just said. You know, it kind of has similar vibes to The Hunger Games, but what if I was to tell you The Hunger Games is famous for a reason, and it's because it's good, and maybe people want to use it as inspiration, but like give a nice twist. You know what I mean? Wow. Jen said, I finished it. That's the nicest thing I can say about this book. Well, Jen, I'm glad you finished it. You don't have anything else to say about the book? Nothing else? I'm reading these 1-star reviews, and in my head I'm like, how did you read? How did you read this? And you're just plugging your 1 star. Dumb, cheap, and boring Hunger Games meets Snow of Glass. I don't know what else people want from it, from any author. Like, we're gonna have some of the similar plots of books that are famous. Like, we're gonna have inspiration of those things, and like, I don't know if you can like all of a sudden create something that's totally different, which is impossible. It's enemies to lovers, it's stakes, it's banter, it's all this stuff, and all this stuff is inspired by these things. Like, that's what we're gonna get. So I would like to see you write. If you guys have not read Powerless yet, I highly recommend it. These people might not, but I do. Okay, the second one is from a series that I just love so much. It's such a comfort series of mine, and that is the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, specifically the very last one, Bad Blood. This book was so stinking good. I literally ate up this whole series last year, and this one was a 5 stars for me. Like, it was my favorite out of all of the 4. It was so good. The plot in this book, and also, like, this is not your normal YA mystery thriller. It had such a different twist to it, and I loved and appreciate it so much. It's just so good. I guarantee people will have some choice words about this one too. Thankfully, this one has an average of a 4.38, so a lot of people like it. That is good to hear. We only have 90 one-star reviews. That's some good odds. We just have a simple awful from Linda. No, Linda. No. No. Sorry. I refuse to accept that. Elizabeth said, wow, what a ending. Elizabeth said, wow, what a bad ending. It's giving what? It's giving incredible? Amazing? Show-stopping? That's what it gave for me. I mean, we're name twins. We both have the same name. So that's sad that we don't share the same book taste. Whatever. Samia said, I'm not too sure how to pronounce her name. Honestly, it was horrible but fun. Okay, so I would agree on the fun part. That we can agree on. Horrible? We can turn that word into amazing. And then we can, like, be on the same page. Horrible is crazy. A lot of these people are disappointed by the ending, which is so crazy because I literally loved the ending of this book. I just loved this plot so much. It was just so different. Rachel said the writing is good, but the plot was too far-fetched, which I feel like it's not far-fetched at all. I feel like stuff like this happens way more apparent than what we think happens. I thought it was such a different take, and I just really, really, really enjoyed it. Clearly we have some friends who don't. Ebby says rush, not as engaging as the other ones, I'm assuming she's trying to say, which is crazy because do you see the length of this book? It is 500 pages. How in the world? How can you rush something that's so long? The pacing was incredible, though you're wrong, so that's fine though. That's fine to be wrong sometimes. My next one is a pretty recent 4.75 for me. I loved this book, The Unmaking of June Farrow. This book, the ending, oh, it was so good, and this one is gonna hurt. This one is gonna hurt. I know exactly what people are gonna say about this one too. She says, you've heard of miscommunication, but now introducing no? I would wager to say yes. Booked and Busy just said, this was horrible. No, once again, it was not horrible. In fact, it was engaging and beautiful and atmospheric and just so good. I'm sorry, but I hated it so long, boring, and predictable. There's no way you predicted any of what happened. You're telling me you predicted that? You're telling me you predicted that? No, I don't believe you. I'm sorry. Had to force myself to get through this, quite boring, and the timelines were confusing. Boring, I wouldn't say boring. I would say the thing with this book is it's very atmospheric. It's a type of book where you kind of get this baseline and you're getting like the atmosphere, the story, the plot, like 20% into the book, and then it literally ramps up to like a million miles an hour, and then crazy stuff starts to happen and you're like, what is happening? What is happening? You just like literally, it's crazy. So to call it boring, I wouldn't call it boring. I can see how some people may find it boring. That's the reason why it wasn't a 5 stars for me, was because I had to really like change my mindset and say, okay, well, it's setting up the story. It's not exactly boring because it ramps up and like it just makes sense why it was getting very atmospheric in the beginning because it goes crazy at the end. Like, it goes absolutely nuts. And the timelines were confusing. Listen, did this book have time travel in it? Yes, it did. I'm going to be so honest with you. I understood the bare minimum of it, but I just vibed my whole way through this book. Listen, that's all I do with books that I don't understand, is I just read it and be like, cool, 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 cool. Because what happens to me is if I am focusing on something too much, then my mind will drift and I will lose all want to read this book because I'm focusing too much on this one thing that I just can't understand. I have learned that if I do not fully understand something in a book, I can't get stuck on it and I'll just continue reading. Like, I'll just be like, cool, don't really understand the full concept of that, but I'm still just gonna read it and have fun. And I read it and I had fun and I loved it so much. This girl said, fast forwarded to the end, got lost. I wonder why. It's because you missed 90% of the plot. That would probably do it for you. I would probably get lost at 100% of the books I read if I just like skip to the end. That's why you don't do that, silly goose. So that's all I'm gonna do for this book. I highly recommend this book if you guys have not read it. It's getting a lot of hype right now. The audiobook was incredible. It was so good. So yeah, just read this book and don't focus too much on the time travel. The next book. This is one of my favorite contemporary romances from last year. So good. The Bodyguard by Catherine Senner. One of the most perfect contemporary romances in my opinion. It was just incredible. I gave this book a 4.75. All I needed from this book was his POV. It would have been a 6-star. Literally all I needed was his point of view. But I think about this book all the time. It's so good. Let's break our hearts. This person said, I'm not usually a hater, but today I am. How did you hate this? Bro. No way. The only thing I liked about this book is that it ended. What do you mean by that? You hated the romance, you hated the banter, you hated everything about it. That was perfection. I don't really understand what you're trying to say there. Because I personally wish it never ended. Personally. I haven't read a romance novel with less chemistry. You're wrong there. Like, you're wrong. You're literally wrong. You're gonna read this book and you're gonna tell me they didn't have any chemistry. False. What in the Wattpad did I just waste my time reading? Wattpad? Girl. To call this Wattpad is crazy. Not saying Wattpad writing is bad. I'm saying there's a distinctive difference. Distinctive? Is that a word? I'm saying there's a difference between Wattpad writing and normal writing. This was not Wattpad writing. I'm gonna do one more because I really don't like this. This is undoubtedly the worst book I've ever read. Yeah, that's where we're gonna. I love this book so much. If you just want the most perfect, and I'm talking right now, the most perfect contemporary romance. Read this book. The last book that we're gonna do. Daisy hates the great undoing. The character in this book that just has my whole heart, and he's so mistaken. Oh, I just remembered what. Unoriginal, boring, pointless. I don't know why I keep reading this series. Like, it makes me want to jump off a cliff. You should seek some help. How many books? 1, 2, 3. 3 books into this series, girl. What are you doing reading the next one? Looks like you just want to hate. So many skips. Did not care at all. And what is that ending? What is that ending? If Julian Hates has 1,000,000 haters, I'm one of them. If Julian Hates has 1,000 haters, I'm one of them. If Julian Hates has 1 hater, it's me. Julian has 0 haters. It means I have left this world. If the world loves Julian Hates, then I'm against the world. To hate Julian Hates, it's a crime. I don't really know what to say about that. I feel like I've just been stabbed over and over and over. Like, how could you hate that character. Daisy's books would be so much better without having to put up with Julian's POV. I hate that loser gang lord. His POV is actually what... I can't do it. No. Wow, so many Julian haters in this. Clearly you're a Magnolia and BJ girl then. I mean, listen, I am too. But if you've read this book, then you know the turmoil, you know the how conflicted you feel, you know what I mean? Then you know that, like, yes, Magnolia and BJ. And then on the other side of the coin, you're like feeling so much dread and conflicted and just so many emotions about another character, and it's just like heartbreaking all around. Honestly, I can't do any more of this one. Honestly, I wasn't super interested in this series until I read the first one last year. I read Dizzy Hates in like the summer of last year, and then I didn't read the rest until they all just got traditionally published and they were like showing up on like stores and stuff. So I decided to pick it up again, and I read the last 3 in no time at all. I literally love this series so much. It's so amazing and heartbreaking and so different to any other romance books. I would not classify these books as romance. I would classify these books as just pain, heartbreak. Like, it's just a bunch of rich people drama, a bunch of people who make bad decisions, a bunch of unredeemable things happening, but you still find a love for these characters somehow. Like, you weave through and you're just like, wow, I cannot help but love these characters. But yes, guys, that is the end of today's video. It was a hard one for me. I understand that some people have their opinions on books, and that's totally fine. They're valid for having a different opinion. I'm valid for feeling the way I feel. You know, we're all valid. It's just a world of validity. Is that a word? That is the end of today's video, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, do all those things that you guys know how to do, and I will hopefully see you in my next YouTube video. Bye, guys.